The game week from hell, the game week from hell, game week 13, the game week from hell. Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. My name is FPL Meerkat and today I've got my game week 13 review and my game week 14 team selection for you guys. And yeah, it was a pretty horrendous game week. And just to demonstrate, I've got a little graphic here at the start just to show you how many decisions went wrong for me this game week. So what did I do? I captained Salah. I transferred Trossard out for Foden. I played David Raya ahead of Ward. And I played Tony instead of Andreas. Now, that last one, you can understand that, right? You can understand playing Tony over Andreas. No one really anticipated Andreas's 10-pointer, and he was on a lot of our benches, so that did sting a bit. Ward getting an 8-pointer, Raya getting 2 points. What on earth happened to Brentford? We saw them have an absolutely, incredible defensive performance against Chelsea, and then fall apart. Absolutely fall apart against Aston Villa. Completely fell apart. Don't know what happened there. I bought Foden for Trossard. They played in the same game, of course. Foden was benched. Trossard scored. Absolutely hilarious stuff there. And I captained Salah instead of Haaland, which is probably the biggest mistake of the game week. I saw the team news that Darwin wasn't playing. I saw that Salah was central, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to back my man to get some points. Completely forgetting about the fact that Haaland is Haaland. I mean, it might have been because we had a bit of a break from him. He hadn't been playing he didn't play last week, and the week before that he was playing Liverpool, which wasn't a good fixture anyway. So I might have just switched off from the fact that Haaland was so good. But yeah, an absolutely horrendous set of decisions there, which cost me, as you can see, 31 points in total. So yeah. Let's have a look at the team in total. It's rough. It's rough. 44 points this week. I'm glad at least I didn't take a hit. I could have done Maddison to Saka for a hit. That was the other transfer I was planning on doing, but I didn't end up doing that. Captain Salah, as you can see there. And I mean, just look at that bench. Look at that bench. 26 points sat there on the bench. Absolutely horrendous week. A big red arrow. I'm now well outside the top 1 million once again. That consecutive streak of green arrows is over and my progress has been completely reset, which is an absolute bummer. Yeah. I'm probably just going to make this video this week and then completely switch off from FPL for this week. Just completely give my mind a rest to it. I might even roll the transfer because, making that many decisions that have gone wrong, it's just made me feel, you know what, let's just not make any decisions this week. I've still got to in terms of the team that I put out, but at least I can save one with the transfer. But yeah, no points from anywhere apart from Maddison, who again I was going to transfer out but didn't end up doing, so that was good. He does play City next week, but then again, Trossard played Man City and he got a goal. So yeah, who's to say I keep him for that Man City fixture? But yeah. Pretty horrendous game week there. Let's have a look at how my team's looking for game week 14. So this is how the team looks for game week 14. I've currently not made any transfers. I'm not even too sure if I will make a transfer. As you can see there, my perma captain is now Haaland. I will not be moving the captaincy of Haaland. Until he plays Liverpool again, I might switch. But yeah, I don't think I'll be moving the captaincy from Haaland. I can't take the pain of not captaining him in a game week. It's just too terrifying watching the City games and seeing Haaland do the things that he does and not having him captained and seeing his ownership at about 190% effectively, meaning a huge red arrow for anything that he does. So yeah, he's going to be my perma captain from now on. I'm a bit of an idiot for going for Salah again. I mean, the Nottingham Forest game, a lot of us saw that a lot of us thought that he could do pretty well, but Forest defender for their absolute lives in that game, and Salah just looked miles off it. And even though I've captained Haaland, points from Salah will still be a positive. It doesn't even matter that I don't captain him. It was just a silly decision to back against Haaland, because that's what effectively you're doing whenever you don't captain him. It's not that you're backing the player you've captained, it's you're backing against Haaland to not do anything. So yeah, bit of a silly move there. But the team looks all right. I mean, on paper, it looks all right for the next game week. I'm hoping for some clean sheets. I do have some ideas for some transfers. I might do something. I might transfer in someone who's quite differential, and I might transfer out one of the players who's very heavily owned, just to try and differentiate my team a bit, because I'm now really needing to catch up. It's pretty risky to do something like that when, if that player hauls or does really well, I'm going to see a massive red arrow. But I think that some of the teams that we're looking at targeting are playing a lot better than we think. And there could be blanks on the horizon for some players in easier fixtures. I was looking at transferring in Saka. He blanked against Southampton. I'm a bit sceptical about this Nottingham Forest home fixture. I don't know why. I just think Martinelli might get a blank in that. So I could potentially transfer him out, which I know seems a bit silly because on paper it seems incredibly good. And, I've got Maddison against Man City. Why wouldn't I transfer him out? But Maddison was one of my only point scorers last week. And it just seems to be at the moment, whoever you think isn't going to do well, does do well. The highest scorers in my team were Maddison, Ward, and Andreas, and Haaland, obviously, in my team. Haaland's the only certainty. But yeah, I'm hoping for some points this week because as you can probably tell, I'm a bit demoralised from the last week with so many decisions going against me. But I'm going to completely switch off. I'm going to just enjoy the football that's going on in the Champions League, and then I'm going to revisit this on Friday probably and just make my transfer if I do end up making one. But I've made some graphics for this video, so let's get into those talking points. So in terms of some game week 14 differentials, I've highlighted 3 players here who I think will do well in the next game week and potentially for the next 3 game weeks. Of course, there's no point looking after game week 16 because in game week 17, everyone has a wild card and we've got a month-long break from the World Cup anyway. So basically, you might as well build your teams looking at just those 3 game weeks. And although Danny Ings plays a very tough fixture with Newcastle away, I'm backing him to do quite well, which is why I'm looking at doing a ludicrous move of taking out Trippier, because I don't think he'll keep a clean sheet in that game. I know, it's pretty risky doing something like that. But 6.6 million, 0.56 expected goals in the matches he's played per 90 minutes. Ings has looked really good. He's on penalties, and Aston Villa have just signed Unai Emery as well. And he really likes to get the best out of his forwards. He really likes using a strike partnership in his previous managerial roles. And I think he'll really get the best out of the likes of Ings, Watkins and Bailly as well. Bailly, a really nice shout in midfield given how cheap he is. But yeah, I'm backing Ings to do quite well in the free fixture run. And he's definitely someone to keep your eye on after the World Cup period as well, when Aston Villa's fixtures get a little bit better. The fixture's a bit tough for Villa, but he's certainly a different pick up front, that's for sure. Not many people own Danny Ings in their team, and he's relatively cheap. So if you've got a cheap option up front, I think you could definitely consider him moving the likes of a Solanke onto him. Possibly moving Mitrovic onto him when his fixtures get a bit tougher. Second player there is Xhaka. Now, definitely not a player who is on many people's radars given his usual positioning for Arsenal. And yes, he's definitely been outscoring his expected stats. But with Nottingham Forest at home as a fixture, I could definitely see Xhaka rocking up with another goal. And again, he's very cheap and very lowly owned. So these picks are not hugely backed by the statistics. They are just almost gut feelings. Take that as you want. And players who aren't really on a lot of people's radars at all. These are almost super differentials. But the last pick there, not really a mega differential, but Anthony there, currently on 9.9% owned. I'd count him as a differential just for the time being. 7.6%, 7.6 million, and some pretty good expected goals and assist stats there. Home to West Ham. I think this Manchester side look a lot better than they have in previous years, and not only just previous games. And I definitely back Anthony to do fairly well, at least get a goal in the next 3 matches. You could also look at the likes of Rashford playing more centrally. I just think Anthony's quite an interesting pick given the different fixtures, given the relatively good fixtures. I know 2 of them are away, but yeah, I reckon Man United can get a couple goals in those games. But yeah, those are just some different picks for the game week. So I think it's been a bit of a stimulus in the FPL community for a long time that goalkeepers are a waste of a transfer. If you're taking a hit to move on a goalkeeper, or if you're just making a move to switch a goalkeeper, it's a waste of a transfer because goalkeepers don't really get many points anyway, and there's no point spending your transfers on the position when you just want to back a defence for a long amount of time. Well, I'm here to throw a little bit of doubt on that statement. As you can see here, that we've got 8 goalkeepers on the screen here, and their scores from the last 3 game weeks. Now, as you can see, there are 11 double-digit scores in the last 3 game weeks. Now, this is probably a huge anomaly, and as you can see, last game week 13, there was only 1 double-digit haul with Dean Henderson against Liverpool. So yeah, this is quite an anomaly, but I feel like this is a year for anomalies, and there is a huge amount of variance with the goalkeeper scores in terms of they either haul or they get a few points. Or they haul double digits or they get 1 or 2 points. But I definitely think it is worth it if you think it's going to improve your team to switch your goalkeeper, not necessarily on a wild card or a free hit. I know this is a bit rich coming from me because I'm someone who's had Raya for the entire game. I've had Raya since game week 1 and have not moved from him since. In fact, I think I've had the Raya and Ward double up for the entire season. So I haven't actually made a goalkeeper transfer myself. But it's more just to highlight the fact that there have been some really high scores from the goalkeepers, and a lot of them. And I reckon this is down to a lot more teams playing defensively, forcing shots from further away from the goal. And as a result, goalkeepers not only picking up more saves, but more likely to get bonus points because of the amount of saves they're making. And if it's a low scoring game and there might only be 1 goal scored from your team, the goalkeeper can easily just rack up 10 points. If it's a clean sheet to get 6 points, obviously playing and then clean sheet to get 6 points, 2 bonus and 6 saves made. And that's a very common thing that we're seeing. A lot of 10 pointers here. Obviously you've got the likes of Alisson and Sarr here who have saved penalties. You can't predict that really. You might have a good strategy of predicting penalties, but honestly, it's really hard to tell. We just pick penalty takers because we hope they might get a penalty. You can never really predict which goalkeeper is going to save a penalty. Only look at the ones who have got good statistics in saving them. The likes of Jose Sarr, and I believe Alisson has got a very good record with saving penalties as well. But yeah, I just thought it was something interesting here to highlight that goalkeepers have scored a lot of points. But just like every week, let's have a look at who did the best in the mini league. So we have a very solid score from the mini league this week, 76 points in total, and a triple captain played on Haaland, not saving it for a double game week. Haaland getting 13 points, triple to 39, still a very, very good score. In years gone by, 13 from your triple captain is an excellent score. I think you can be happy with a triple captain if your captain is getting 10 or more, I'd say. 9 is sort of like you're all right with it. 8, you're a little bit disappointed. Anything below 8, you're like, okay, that was probably a bit of a waste. But yeah, 13 points, triple to 39, a really good use of the triple captain. Very risky using it in a single game week, but if you're using it on Haaland, is it really that risky? Not too many points from the rest of the team, although De Bruyne getting a nice 9-pointer there over the likes of Salah, and getting Maddison's 8-pointer there. Mitrovic was 6. Andreas still on the bench, unfortunately. Most of us benching Andreas. It's really annoying with him as a 12th man because he often seems to haul when he's not needed. And when we do end up playing Andreas, he doesn't get points. But yeah, Ward on the bench as well. Could have been an astronomical game week with the substitutions used in the right way. And just to laugh in the face, Konza on the bench there of a clean sheet when none of the other defenders got a clean sheet. I don't think anyone really saw that coming from Aston Villa after their terrible performances. But as soon as Gerrard's out the door, they play incredibly well. Was that stubbornness from Gerrard, or was that the players being relieved to have him finally out the door? But yeah, very solid game week there. 109k rank for the game week. 727 points overall as well. Yeah, a very, very good score from you there, Fellaini. I'm going to say Fellaini. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Did you like the other different aspects I've added to these kind of videos? I want to try and make one a week and sort of add different things to it. I hope you guys like the mini league option, the mini league segment of the video as well. I feel like it's quite nice to just incorporate you guys instead of just talking about my team all the time. Talk about the teams that are doing well and the kind of players that they've brought in as well, and highlighting your brave decisions. I'm certainly going to be debating over where I'm going to use a transfer this week. Definitely not taking a hit. I feel like using 2 transfers for next week might be very advantageous for me. I know I've got I know I've got Maddison against Man City. I might end up benching him for Andreas, but yeah, I will post my team on my Twitter page later on the week, and I'll see you guys in the next FPL video. Game week 13, the game week from hell.